afternoon, and thank you so much for making us the station of your choice. My name is Ruvimbo Nyikadzino, and thank you so much to the viewers who are tuning in through HStvZim and Newsday Facebook page. And this is The Shift, where we shift the sands, we shift the minds, and we take the bull by its horns. Today in the studio, we are joined by a phenomenal woman, a mother, a grandmother, a cabinet minister, and we are so humbled to have you on The Shift today. Welcome, Honorable Minister.
Thank you so much, Ruvimbo, and I want to say I'm very humbled and very grateful that you've invited me to come to your program. And I want to say to the audience, it's a pleasure talking to the people of this country.
And thank you so much for allowing us to come at the comfort of your home. And on The Shift, we celebrate women's achievements. Yes. We understand that if we don't celebrate our own, no one is going to do it for us. We have the whole international community celebrating their own, but as Zimbabwe, we need to start to craft our own stories and also inspire other young women. And we are so excited today to have you on the program because we know that you are a great mentor to a great number of young women. You joined the liberation struggle at a very tender age, 15, I guess?
Yes.
Yes. And I think for young girls and women, they would want to understand, why did you join the liberation struggle where women and other people just perceive it as a male-dominated environment?
Ruvimbo, let me say the issues of women empowerment are very close to my heart. And this is why I granted this invitation. And I said, well, let's talk about it. At the age of 15, that was sometime early 1976, I was a Form 3 student at Mtambara High School. We were inspired as young boys and girls by the attainment of independence of Frelimo in Mozambique and also MPLA in Angola. The news, especially of Frelimo, which is just next door, I'm from Manicaland, and as you are aware, we share the longest border with Mozambique, gave us that mind to say, what is that we are afraid of? What is that we can't do to fight for our own independence? For those who may who may have missed it, or the younger generation, it was tough to grow up in Rhodesia. There are things which we take for granted today, which were never there. Mm-hmm. As my mother struggled to send me to school, I'm from humble beginnings. In fact, I lost my father when I was hardly 11 years. And so my mother had to send us all to school. She was a powerful woman who gave us a lot of good teaching. And I must say, even when I was in the war, what kept me going was what my mother had instilled in me. She was a very passionate person, firm, but with a lot of love. So there we go. And I left with 4 other girls from school. It was just during the afternoon. And we told ourselves, yes, we are not afraid to go and fight for what is ours. Yes, we are not afraid to go and fight for opportunities for the people of Zimbabwe. Mozambicans have done it, and there's no reason why we should be afraid. Mtambara had so many children that left the school. Even one of our lecturers had also left the group of earlier that year, the previous year. So that was it. We left. The whole story is for another day, I think. But it was love for my country, love for opportunities. No one left to join a political party. I had never heard of any political party then. Neither did I leave to say maybe I want a position when I get there. No, we knew we were going to fight. We knew we've had. Frelimo had lost a lot of their own during the fight for liberation for Mozambique. And so what we wanted was to go to Mozambique, get the assistance of training, guns, and come back and fight the Smith regime, who were not allowing black people in this country to do anything, let alone women in this country. Yes.
And from what you have shared, Honorable Minister, many people, even up to now, still look at women as inferior people. But you went for the liberation struggle as a woman. How was it for you, you with your 4 friends, and you have decided to join the liberation struggle, the first days for you? How did you manage that?
Let me say to the people of this country and to a lot of young women and many others, Women in this country, when we talk of women empowerment, when we talk of for gender equality, we are not asking for charity. And women didn't just start fighting side by side with their male colleagues during the Chimurenga War. It was even in the 1890s. Mbuya Nehanda was a great war strategist. So when we are talking about women empowerment and bringing women even during peace times as we are right now, it's a developmental issue. It's just not a human rights issue. So when I left Mutambara, I left with 3 other girls, and I remember them precisely even 40-something years after. I left with other 3 girls, Sophia Manakandafa, Veronica Chigumira, and Winnet Mpita, and myself. Young Form 3 kids. We wanted to go, we knew we had to walk towards the east to go to Mozambique, where Frelimo was, and we certainly knew where the other groups who had left earlier were there. So we were going to join them so that we fight for opportunities for all. Nobody ever thought of their individual benefit by going to join the struggle. It was a collective thing. As Zimbabweans, we need to do it. And you rightly said, women of Zimbabwe, we need to celebrate each other. We need to be able to mentor each other, because we need to continue to make women of this country understand that you can do it. When I look at capacity, I don't look at gender. For me, I see myself as somebody who can do any job, whatever I'm assigned. I have told you that I spent 5 years in the bush. I had no mother to look up to. I had no brother to look up to. I had no sister to look up to. But I had to say, here I am. Who am I? And that's why I always say the strongest pillar I had, which I carried with me even in her physical absence, was my mother. My mother's teachings were all over the walls. Wherever I looked at, I would see, I would never do anything in the war without at least consulting my conscience, consulting that which has been instilled in me by my mother. So, yes, it was a difficult war, difficult circumstances. I don't really would ever want Zimbabwe to go back to that situation. This is why I always say, as young generation of this country, we have a job. And the job we have is to make sure that we look after what is ours. Sovereignty comes once, independence comes once. Those who went to fight, they did fight for everybody. And so it is up to all of us to make sure that we keep it, we are loyal and religious to what is ours.
And I think we as Zimbabweans, as you're sharing, we cannot talk about Zimbabwe without the liberation struggle. We cannot talk about Zimbabwe without the independence of this country. And there are narratives that women only can proceed or they can be only successful if they have husbands at their back, which is true. And you, as a woman, you have created a way for yourself. You are the Minister of Information. How did you manage to do this?
Let me change that narrative a bit. Human beings succeed when they have support base. The support which normally comes from a family, that is your children, your husband, or your wife, or your family members, extended family members, especially in African culture. We know we benefit a lot from a bigger family, and I am a beneficiary of that. I have actually managed to get where I am because of that. I enjoy a lot of support from my husband, who by the way, I met in the struggle. So I am lucky to say throughout, I've had a partner who respects whatever decision I take, whatever job I take. He looks at my success as his success. Equally the same here. I look at my husband's success as my success, and that has kept us going. I want to say, women, don't allow yourself to be brought down by bad narratives. There is nothing which says a woman's place is only in the kitchen. When we talk of women empowerment, we are not saying we don't cook for our families. We are not saying we don't look after our families. Here I am, I'm Monica Mutsvangwa. The first thing is I'm wife of Chris. And the second is I'm I'm the daughter of my, in fact, the first thing is I'm the daughter of my mother and father. I'm the sister of my brothers and sisters. I am the wife of Chris. I am the mother of 4 beautiful children. And I'm the grandmother of my 2 beautiful grandchildren. And I must say, I've given a lot of quality time for each and everyone because they all matter in my life. I have a very difficult schedule as the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services. But the only reason I have succeeded to be where I am today is because of my family. They are very supportive. My boys are supportive. My husband is supportive. My brothers, my sisters, even, Anambuya, Nana Sekuru, out there, they are very supportive. The people who elected me to be a senator, I was elected senator since 2008. And since that time, this is my third term in Parliament. I have been elected, so my electorate supports me. They make me feel like there's much more I can give in to make this country a better country. Mm-hmm. Those comrades who died during the struggle, who were my colleagues, I know them by name. I can remember them. I can close my eyes and even remember where they perished. And that there is not even a grave for those who perished during the struggle. And to me, that gives me a lot of energy to continue to go on and make sure that we make Zimbabwe a better place for each and everyone. Because no young boy or girl who left this country to join the struggle, to fight for their families or for their individual good, but they went, it was a collective thing. It was for the good of everyone in this country. So for that keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. You are a cabinet minister of a very critical ministry, the Ministry of Information, where you are the spokesperson of the government. Mm-hmm. How do you manage this with the advent of social media, where a lot of news, misinformation, disinformation, how do you manage this as a woman?
Again, you are saying as a woman. I manage it as a Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services. Mm-hmm. I have this support base and I listen a lot. I believe I am inspired a lot by those women who have been before us, those who are there, senior, those who are behind me, young children. What actually keeps me going is I keep my doors open, my phones are open. I want to hear and listen to what other people think. Because I believe each and everyone in this country or outside or in this world has got something special which I may not know. Yes, today I'm the Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, but that doesn't mean I know everything about information. Media is very, very important in any society. You bring people together, you educate people, you inform people, you entertain people, and what is critical is to make sure that we move as a bloc. If we are going to succeed, whether socially, politically, or economically as a country, we need to be united. The issue of uniting people is very close to my heart. And that's my main agenda. As I was given this job during the Second Republic, what I looked at was to remove that polarization between the media institutions, to make sure that we as Zimbabweans, we should tell our story, not allow anybody else to tell us the story of our country. Mm-hmm. It is critical that as Zimbabweans, we should celebrate what we have achieved as a country. If we continue to criticize each other for just criticism, that will not get us anywhere. Yes, criticism is fine. I take criticisms. I know there's a lot of constructive criticism. So when I hear people talking about me, I take what is good. And that was the teaching I was given by my mother. That you move around with a sieve. Let people say what they want to say. Put everything in that sieve and sieve it out. And so that what you don't need goes away and you keep what you need. That keeps you going. And this is what I believe in. I believe there are lots of people out there who can teach me a lot of good things which can make me a better Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services. I look at this assignment as any assignment. And I think I'm capable to take any assignment which the President feels I can take. What is important is determination. You have to be strong. Responsibility just doesn't come it's not come easy. There's pain which comes with responsibility. It's like even as women, when we talk about women empowerment, it comes with a lot of hard work. Yes, I have to admit I have to work hard. I have to do a lot of reading. I have to do a lot of research. Because I always say as a woman, and I talk to a lot of young people, when you know the subject you are talking about, there's nothing which will make you afraid of. I'm not afraid of talking to the media because I do study, I research, I talk to other people. I ask questions when I don't understand. And I get a lot of information across the board. So that keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. And in a bid to create the correct narratives, there has been stereotypes to say that if you see a woman climbing up the ladder, there has been, I think there were pictures that were going viral through the social media where there was a lady who wanted an interview and then there was a bed with a man sleeping on that saying if you want the job, you have to sleep here. What do you say to young women? Yes.
Ruvimbo. The women of this country have demonstrated they can do it. They fought side by side with their male colleague during the war. That was during the war. During peacetime, you tell me that they can't do it? We can't allow our young women to be pulled down by that narrative. I have always said when I talk to women and try to mentor them to join politics, young women, I say, what is politics after all? Politics is about knowing if there's a school in your neighborhood. Is there a hospital in your community? Are there roads so that at least our mothers who want to give birth can access hospitals? Are there schools in your community? Are children all able to go to school? Are girls going to school without really being married off when they're young? What is that we're doing is in your community? It starts from there, and for me, that is politics. When you start worrying about what's happening in your community, you then ask yourself, what is that I can do for my country? And I think a lot of women and young women there, you should ask yourself, whether you are still at secondary school or at your university, what is that I can do? Even at family level, what is that I can do? You are born in a poor family. What is that you can do to help your parents at least achieve or sending you to school and giving you the best? What is that you can do at school? What is that you can do to show that you can add value to the next door person? Never allow yourself to be pulled down by the bad narrative. We want young Zimbabwean women to know that there is not even the sky. Some people say the sky is the limit. But the limit is you, yourself. Don't limit yourself. You'll be able to get there. Yes, I know there are problems. Societies have got, these are traditional beliefs which are not changing overnight. Mm-hmm. They take time. But culture is dynamic. As we move, we see, when I was the co-chairperson of COPA, Constitutional Making Process, I actually saw it for myself when we went out for the outreach. I saw chiefs, traditional chiefs, talking about the issues of women empowerment, the benefits of making sure that we enshrine the rights of women in the Constitution. I remember one chief who actually said, look, when there is gender-based violence in my community, what it means is I end up having so many families, mothers and their children in my home, and I can't even feed them because they'll be running away from gender-based violence. So we need those who perpetuate gender-based violence to be incriminated and make sure that they go into jail. So we have seen our culture moving. Culture, values, traditional values are dynamic. We keep what is good, and we obviously want to throw away what is not, what doesn't develop us to go to the next stage. Marrying off young kids, young little girls, it's a very bad culture. And I'm glad the people of this country spoke to it during the constitutional making process, how bad it is, because you're taking away a talent from another child who is equally like a baby boy or a baby girl. When God gives you children, they equally have talents which they come up with. And what we have to do as a nation is to nurse those talents so that they can come out of these young girls. Let's, as parents, as relatives, as managers in our office, in business, as managers in government, we are all there to make sure that we build and help talents out of every child, whether it's a girl, whether it's a boy, because everybody has got capacity to do it when given an opportunity.
And there are a lot of young women listening to us right now.
Yes.
Do you care to share some of the opportunities that they can tap into as what the Second Republic is advocating for, women empowerment? What are some of the opportunities that young women who are listening to us right now can actually benefit from?
What is critical and important for a young woman is to listen to your parents, to be able to respect who you are, and respect yourself and respect your body. It's very important to look after yourself. If you don't think highly of yourself and your body, nobody else will. If you go around just doing bad things, you are making yourself cheap. First of all, we went through the war. It was a difficult war, but you had to look after yourself. The bottom line was I had to look after and think about what my mother taught me. No peer pressure should ever distract you from doing the right things. So what is important? Education. You need to take your education very seriously. If you have an opportunity to go through high school and go to university, you need to take it very serious. A lot of times your parents are really having a difficult time to make sure that they put food on the table, they manage to pay your tuition, and you take that opportunity. When you excel, whether it's at school or university, there are other opportunities. Always look out for opportunities for whether it's grants, whether it's getting grants from government or a fund to make sure that you continue with school. That's important. But those normally, the sponsorship always goes to those who work hard. You can't expect to be picked when you are not showing that you are there. You need to demonstrate. That's why I say as a girl, you always have to work hard. If it's even in a club, when they ask for somebody to do something, volunteer. If you don't understand, you learn. Don't be afraid of learning new things. And don't be afraid of that don't allow the bad narrative to say the woman's place is in the kitchen, or you don't need to go to university, just to finish high school and look for a man. The moment you start looking for a man to look after you, that's a problem. You have got value. Where two people meet who can be independent on their own. A boy who has finished school, a lawyer there, a girl who has finished school, a lawyer there, they come together, they love each other, they meet, and they decide to marry. That's an excellent relationship. As a young girl, if you start think that you have to depend on a man for you everything you want, even your makeup, your everything, that you have to look around for a man, things which you can do for yourself, you have to work hard. And I always say, if you can't have it, if your parents can't afford them, please don't look for those things. You're making yourself cheap. And when a man looks at you as cheap, they won't have any respect for you. Men are equally human beings. They respect something which is valuable. Make yourself valuable first for a man to love and respect you. I always make myself valuable to my husband in many respects. In making sure I look after him, I make sure he eats very good food, his clothes I iron, he's well dressed. I make sure that he is always happy, and by being happy, it's making sure that I look after his problems. Is his mother okay? Does she have enough food? Is his sisters, what can I do to help his sisters? Are there problems around him? Because when you marry one person, it doesn't necessarily mean you're only the two of you. When I'm married to the Mutsvangwas, I'm married to the whole Mutsvangwa and every clan around them. So I make myself valuable. And when you are valuable, it's human nature. People love and respect you.
Just recently, Tanzania witnessed the appointment of the first female president, and the whole international world, especially women, really celebrated this achievement. What does this mean to you as a woman who's also advocating for the women empowerment?
I must say, you've just talked about Tanzania, and I am very devastated by the passing on of a Pan-Africanist like President Magufuli. I was in Tanzania twice when he was the president, and I saw the developments which were happening in that country. And I want also to say, during that time when I visited Tanzania, I had an opportunity to be invited to the Vice President, then Samia Suluhu. And I had dinner. She had a special dinner for me. And I found somebody I adored. I was inspired a lot. Very well-anchored woman who really was open-minded and easy to deal with. I mean, when I was invited, I was just a minister from Zimbabwe. When I was invited to her house, I felt like, oh, it's going to be difficult, but let me be honest, it was a very easy evening. We had a lovely dinner. We laughed. We spoke about many things. I learned a lot. It pays to be humble. It pays to love your country. So it's not surprising that today we have got the first female president in Tanzania. She is a hard worker. She has got a very good background. She has been always there working hard for Chama cha Mapinduzi, and they worked so well with the late President Magufuli, and I can only wish her all the best, and we are very elated. We know she will do it. I know women are good. I mean, I am lucky to have met her and known, but there are many other women who have done it. I also look at Kamal in America for being the first black vice president. Again, that gives a lot of inspiration. Women can actually do it. And it's not about letting the detractors bring you down. As an individual, I listen a lot to what people say, but I never allow what is being said, which is not about me, to bring me down, or what will not take me forward. I told you a long time ago, my mother said, you move around with a sieve. So I always take something which is good, which can take me to the next stage. So I'm very elated, and we wish President Suluhu the best, and we know we are very proud of a sister like her. And I was, as I said, I had an opportunity to interact with her at personal level. She is a great Tanzanian. She loves Africa. She loves development. She loves to see people united, people moving as a bloc.
Mm-hmm. And as we conclude, I would ask you to address the young Monica, that 14-year, the 15-year-old. What do you wish you had known prior to where you are today?
Well, I look at how I've brought up my children and a lot of other friends of my age. And I say, wow, the children of today are very lucky. When we were growing up, we were 9 in our family. My mother was struggling to just put food on the table and to make sure that we go to school. So there was no personal touch or individual touch, mother to son, mother to daughter. You know, mothers of that generation would just say, children, it's time to eat. Children, it's time to sleep. Children, you have to go to the fields. Children, it was about children. The difference with us as mothers of today is I have learned to interact with my children, my 4 boys individually. I have got different ways of interacting with my first son. The way I interact with my last son and my middle son and my other son is different. I have to understand each and every one of them. So what I'm saying is this is the opportunity I never really got, so that I could even have that mother-to-daughter relationship with my own mother. I loved my mother. She was very firm, but I could understand she didn't have time to really relate with me. I was grateful that when I came back from the war, I had an opportunity to live with her before she passed on. That actually was my valuable years. But I was already a married mother too, when I had that opportunity to actually sit down with my mom, relate stories and understand, what is going through you. That was never there, not because she didn't want to have that individual talk, but she just didn't have that time. So I say, and also the other thing is, I look at myself as somebody who never had the opportunity yokutamba umandara neujaha. For me, I got my boyfriend during the war. different circumstances. You know, we are in a fighting mood. We are training. We are tough. There's no food. There's no chocolate or biscuits to give each other. That I missed in my life. I don't regret anything, because fighting for liberation is something which gives me a lot of pleasure all the time when I think about it. And a lot of my own war veteran women and girls and boys, they are very proud to have participated in that liberation struggle to just make this country. Some of them who have never had an opportunity to go far in terms of economically or politically, but they're still very proud. It's something which gives them a lot of pride that I fought in that struggle. I brought this independence to this country. So we missed out on a lot of things, because we went out at a prime time. I missed out just having fun with other 14-year-olds and behave like just a 14-year-old. Unfortunately, at 15, I had to think seriously about who am I? And I had to do things. The 14, 15-year-olds of today, they are waiting. Is mommy here? Is daddy here? Is my brother seeing me? Can I just rush out? And I didn't have that pleasure, unfortunately. I had to just be responsible at a very, very tender age.
Honorable Minister, I'll give you the opportunity to address that young woman who's listening to you right now. They see you on TV. What word would you give them?
To be humble, learn a lot from others. Remember, it's not that generation of yours which matters alone, but there are also women who have been before you, and there's a lot which you can learn from what they did. They may have passed on, but there's a lot which you can learn. Learn a lot from your society, from the values of our traditional values. They mean a lot. Don't throw away who you are, because when you don't know where you came from, you will never be able to understand where you are, and then your future will be bleak. You will never be able to understand your future. We want our girls to continue fighting for what is rightfully theirs.
Honorable Minister, I would like to thank you so much for opening your doors for us to come and have this amazing interview. And I trust that all our viewers who were tuning in really benefited and were really inspired from the story that Honorable Minister Mutsvangwa has shared with us. This is the shift. We shift the sands, we shift the mindsets, and we take the bull by its horns. And like what Minister said, that the sky is not the limit. You are your limit. So you need to rise and take action today. I'm Ruvimbo Nyikadzino, and it's a good afternoon.